Great to proceed with this presentation.
Respected Chairman, Co-Chairman, Rapporteur, all my seniors sitting here, all the scientists, and all the participants. So, I will be talking about the rumen microbiome, key to climate resilient livestock productions. So, I will be mainly focusing on what we have worked on this rumen microbiome, specifically on these applications part, and what we are working on these aspects for the improvement of the animal productivity as well as the reducing these methane productions from these animals. So as you know that this global populations is growing, it is expecting to increase by the end of this century, and the urbanizations that is also going to increase. It is about to be 70% urbanizations in 2050. As the urbanizations is increasing, then there is the increased demand of these animal products. Now, when the animal products, the demand is increasing, so we have to increase the animal productions, animal productivity, and that productivity should be on this technology driven, that we need to develop some kind of this technology to enhance the animal productivity. If you look into this database about the food demand base year in 2050, that in the animal sectors, there is demand of this meat as well as this your milk and dairy products that will be increasing too much. So we need to work on these aspects to improve this animal productivity and to fulfill the demand of our future needs. Now, to fulfill the demand of this global food demand, that we need to increase the animal number, which is not desirable. So we need to improve the animal efficiency of livestock productions, that is the animal productivity. And at the same time, there is the need of this climate smart agriculture, because you know that when this animal production is increasing, there is the increase in the greenhouse gas emissions and these others, this ammonia emissions and all these things. So we need to also check into all these systems, so that by checking all these environmental concerns, we can increase the animal productivity. So I will not go the detail on. So we have the huge livestock productions. India is the #1 in the milk productions. And as I am from this Buffalo Research Institute, you know that buffalo contributions to the buffalo is more than 45% in the Indian milk productions, and this fulfill the demand of this Indian milk pool a lot. At the same time, in the meat productions, India is the 4th in the meat productions, meat export, and maximum is from this buffalo meat. So keeping on this view, we have these huge animal productions, but at the same time, we are also contributing a lot to the greenhouse gas emissions. This data shows that how these animal productions that is contributing to this greenhouse gas, and that is the 18% of the global greenhouse gas. This cattle and buffalo are the maximum contributor of this greenhouse gas, specifically in terms of this methane as well as this nitrous oxide and this ammonia. Now, when you come about this your Indian livestock methane emissions, so there are different types of these databases are available, but on an average, we are contributing around the 12 teragram per year of these livestock methane emissions. Then entering methane emissions is the 95% and the major part, and the manure is also contributing only the 5%. However, this manure, we are having this your undigested feed materials, and that are also contributing. That I will be coming later. This cattle and buffalo, these are the major contributor, as I already said. So we need to also look into these aspects to reduce these greenhouse gas emissions from our livestock species. So in the manure, that is the organic matter and the nitrogen. Organic matter is the contributor of the methane, and this nitrogen is the ammonia, then the nitrous oxide. So inefficient utilizations of the nitrogen is one of the major sources of environmental pollutions. So coming into the actual picture, that is the rumen microbiome and feed utilizations. I am not going through all these rumen microbial populations, as we all know that rumen is harboring the defined types of these microbes, bacteria, hyperammonia producing bacteria, protozoa, defined types of these archaea, fungi, bacteriophages, and they are all contributing holistically for the productions in the volatile fatty acids, which is the energy source for the animals, and at the same times they are also contributing to this your methane productions. Now these compositions of the defined methanogens and their ratio that varies with the animal species and the feeding habits. Therefore, there is the requirement of the development of the species-specific technology to reduce these methane emissions from these livestock species. So we worked on this rumen microbiota in the cattle and buffalo, insights into herd-specific bacterial diversity, and globally we analyzed the database of these bacterial species, and we observed that there are the differences in the cattle and buffalo in kinds of this your rumen bacteria. Although there are some common genus and common species is there, the genera Buteri, Vibrio, Prevotella that are much more predominant in case of cattle, have Succinia classicum and some other bacteria that is predominant in the buffalo. So it signifies that you need to develop some species-specific technology, species-specific this activity to improve the animal productions. We also worked on these methanogens and methane productions with the comparative community structures of the archaea in the rumen of buffaloes and cattle. And there also we observed that Methanobrevibacter was the predominant genus in case of the cattle and buffalo, while the methanomicrobiome is much higher in case of buffalo than the cattle. So it again signifies that there is the need of this species-specific development of this technology to reduce these methane emissions from the specific species. We are also working on the hyperammonia producing bacteria. You know that in the rumen there are the hyperammonia producing bacteria which produce the ammonia in very fast, but although their number is very less, but as they contribute very fast to ammonia production, so it signifies. So there are different types of hyperammonia producing bacteria. It varies with the species. Clostridium stiglandi is the major rumen hyperammonia producing bacteria, but we isolated the 20 different isolates of this hyperammonia producing bacteria, and that can produce this ammonia in the rumen very fast way. This proteobacteria is the major phylum level we this found in our enrichment culture of this hyperammonia producing bacteria in the buffalo rumen. And we also found that this clove oil and rita, clove oil is the source of the essential oils and rita is the source of the saponins that can inhibit the hyperammonia producing bacteria and these protease productions and ammonia productions in the hyperammonia producing bacterial culture. So what are the strategies? Climate smart livestock production strategies. First there is the genetic improvement strategies, bacterial biotechnological strategies, and nutritional strategies. I will be talking only about these nutritional strategies because it is we can easily apply into the field level, and we can formulate some kind of this feeding module to just apply for this improvement in the productions parameters as well as reducing these methane emissions. So nutritional improvement of the fodders, feeds and fodders, strategic supplementations, feeding of complete feed block, ration balancing, use of different feed additives that we can develop and we can use for this year modulating rumen microbiome. We worked on this some kind of this crop residues and improvement in the fodder varieties. As you know, in the animal nutrition conference, we always say that there should be some kind of these collaborations with the crop scientists. So because these crop scientists, they are mainly concerned about the grain productions, they are not concerned about the crop residues. So at the same time, definitely the crop productions and the grain productions is the important one, but at the same time, there must be some holistic approach to enhance the quality of the crop residues. So we worked on with this IIMR Hyderabad, and they developed the low lignin brown mid-dip sorghum cultivars, which have the low lignin variety and which can improve the animals productions. And we did different kinds of these experimentations, and there also we observed that rumen archaeal populations that is reduced with this feeding of these low lignin brown mid-dip sorghum varieties, and there is no changes in the bacterial populations. So it is this Jaikan NutriGauge, this BMR variety that was released nationally, by both the institutes, and it is also published in the Gazette of the India for the national cultivations throughout the country. So we observed the increase in the growth rate with the feeding of this low lignin sorghum variety, and there is the improvement in the digestivity of the dry matter and fiber digestivity. And in the in vitro study, it is clearly visible that it is enhancing this fermentations pattern. So there is the clear-cut difference in the fermentations pattern of this low lignin sorghum variety with the conventional variety. So we worked on this milk productions parameter, and there also we found that there is the improvement in the milk productions around 10 to 12% with the feeding of this low lignin sorghum variety. So it indicates that we need to also work on these different crop residues, different fodder varieties for the improvement in the animal productions. So now next come to this supplementation strategy. So we know that there are the by the supplementations we can improve the animal productions as well as the reducing the methane productions. So another work we conducted, that is the malic acid heat treatment of the rumen protected protein. So in this work we wanted to kill the two birds by the one stone, that is to reduce the methane emissions, to reduce and as well as the productions of the protein, to reduce the nitrogen emissions from the animals. At the same time there is the improvement in the animal productions. So we treated the oil cakes with the malic acid heat treatment for the productions of this rumen protected protein, and we observed that there is the improvement in the body weight gain as well as the milk productions. We have published this data in a very good research paper as well, and this technology we have developed, we have sent to the ICAR for this technology and as well as for the commercializations. And in this study we also observed that there is the rumen archaeal populations, this rumen archaeal populations that is reduced, and this Clostridium, this Ammoniophyllum Clostridium stiglandi, that is the hyperammonia producing bacteria, these hyperammonia producing bacteria are reduced. So by these rumen protections with this malic acid heat treatment, not only reducing these methane emissions but also it is reducing this hyperammonia producing microbes. Ration balancing is another technique. By this way we can improve this animal productions. So this NDRI and NDDB work together with this one in one work, and they found that by this ration balancing we can reduce these methane productions by this around 10 to 12% with the improvement in the milk productions. Then another one, there's this different feeding module. So we also worked on some kind of these feed additives. These feed additives, that is the garlic oil and cinnamon bark. Garlic oil, it is the sulfur compound, and cinnamon bark contains the essential oils. So we developed these feed additives and we observed that there is the reductions in the methane emissions. Not only reducing the methane emissions, it is improving the growth rate as well as it is also the immunity boosting capability. It increases the cell mediated and humoral immunity, and antioxidant status is also improved. Recently we published the research paper in a journal also. Then reducing the ruminal ammonia producing bacteria with some kind of these feed additives. So here also we developed one feeding module with this eucalyptus oil and mulethi root powder, which can reduce this hyperammonia producing bacteria and ammonia productions around this 50% and enhance the growth rate and protein utilization efficiency. So protein utilization efficiency is also improved with the feeding of feed additives. So different types of blends we prepared, and this one blend that we prepared that reduces the methane emissions with this, not only reducing these methane emissions but also it modulates the ruminal biohydrogenation process. By this ruminal biohydrogenation process, there is the improvement in the conjugated linoleic acids, and there is conjugated linoleic acid is improving almost by 50%. So and the ruminal archaeal populations, if you look into this ruminal archaeal populations is also reducing. So these feed additives, these phytogenic feed additives that reduces the methane emissions, that reduces the biohydrogenation process, as well as it is producing the designer milk by this increasing the conjugated linoleic acid content in the milk productions. So we developed the RESME, that is the rumen ecosystem stimulant and methane inhibitor, the composite feed additives. We got the patent for this one in 2022, and we got the technology, the development of this technology by these recognitions from this ICAR. And this RESME, we found that there is the reductions of these archaeal populations with the feeding of this rumen, these composite feed additives, without affecting these bacteria and anaerobic fungi. Mostly the whatever these feed additives, whatever the methane inhibitors normally fed, that hampers the fiber utilizations, that hampers the digestivity of the feed. But the beauty of this one, that this is not decreasing this your digestivity, but it also increasing the digestivity as well as this improvement in the milk productions, methane productions. And if you look into this, your relative abundance of the different archaeal populations, we did it by the sequencing. The total archaeal populations it is reducing, but there is the relative abundance of different archaea that is changing. So this one, the different kinds of this archaeal populations in the 0 day, into after these 3 months, after these 5 months, that is varying with this time period. So the adaptations of these your feed additives with this by this methanogenic archaea, that was not recorded by our study. At the same time, it also improves the antibody titer, that is improving the health status of these animals. So what is the conclusions on way forward? So that is the multi-dimensional strategy. We have to take it not only for the selections, there is the selections for these animals for the desirable traits, that we have to do it. Then improve the reproductions, then feeding management, then the strategic feeding, development of the new products or this delivery system for this rumen stimulant, for this anti-methanogenic as well as this hyperammonia producing bacterial compound, and alternate hydrogen sink. So that we need to use it to reduce these environmental pollutions from the animal production system, as well as to improve the animal productivity. So the whatever the research that should be taken up, that is the different area of tools are available, but it should be the simple one, so that some kind of this tangible benefit and the farmer could get it. There should not be any kind of this risk, and that should be fitted with the farmers' resources and goals. Because in a country like India, when we are talking about only this reducing these methane emissions, till now these farmers are not getting any kind of this incentive for this reducing these methane emissions. So if I talk about only my feed additives that will reduce these methane emissions, nothing else, so nobody will take my technology. So at the same time, if it improves the productions, the productivity, at the same time reductions in the methane emissions, definitely it would be beneficial. So in future, definitely we will expect that the India will come up with all the other developing or developed country like the Australia. I have seen it, that farmers are getting the incentive for the reductions of the methane emissions. So in future, India will also we expect that it will also give some kind of this benefit to the farmers for the reductions of the methane emissions, reductions of the environmental pollutions from the animal production system. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ajit, for the presentation, giving insights of